You're going to hear a lot about the aging programs in Wisconsin today, and we're looking forward to hearing a lot about the technology. And it's particularly important for me to hear this afternoon's presentation about some of the technology, because I've been making it up as I describe to people what this project is about. And to say, there are all these really cool gizmos that they're going to develop that will help us keep older people at home. And I'm delighted to welcome you, but also to remind everybody who's here and all the people that you work with that it is a partnership and that we have to work on this problem solving together so that 880,000 older people in the state of Wisconsin will have a better chance of being able to stay at home when they become old and frail and demented.
The keystone of the Aging and Disability Resource Center is information and assistance. They developed relationships with the communities that they serve. They spend a lot of time working within the community to figure out how that community will work best to support the older people and the people with disabilities. We do not look at older people as a drag on society, nor do we look at them as something that we have to serve. We look at them as a tremendous resource and a tremendous opportunity to partner with people. These folks have incredible experience and wisdom.
John McKnight's going to talk about this a whole lot more than I am, about the difference in the triangle and the circle. Circle meaning community, the triangle is the icon for institution. And I have felt for a long time that what process improvement is to institutions to make us more fit in the process of delivering meals or all the other kind of processes, ABCD is to connecting us to community in a strength-based way.
I shudder that I will end up in a world like this. And you know, it's close by, where what's happened to me is that I am surrounded by a world like this, called an integrated multi-service wraparound system. Everybody meeting to get those things done all the time. And I call it a nursing home. And so the question isn't how can technology keep me home? How can technology enhance the community's capacity to become much more active, caring, and supporting of older people?
I was asked to talk about some really exciting new things that are happening. This is actually a global effort to recreate information and communication technologies so that anyone could walk up to any technology and it would just change into a form that they could use and understand. So this is just a little dongle. It could be in the cloud. This is because Grandma can't even sit to launch a browser and type something in. So this actually just types a little string of keys for you. So it helps for people who can't remember things. So she just plugs it into a computer, and what it does is it gets rid of all this complexity, and it calls up an interface which looks more like what she wants. And on there it says, because she can't remember today what you tell her tomorrow, so right on the middle when you get this first time it says, you know, touch, and usually with a touch screen it works best. It says touch the mailbox for your mail. So she touches the mailbox, and she gets mail. And she goes, oh, what's it? And she touches the mail, and it opens up, and it actually looks like mail. And one of the other things with email is you hit send, and then you're supposed to just sort of believe that something happened with it. And it doesn't. They hit the send, and then what happens? So you hit send on this, and instead it goes into an envelope, and it goes into a little mail truck, and it goes off the screen.
So this project is really based on the premise that if we are talking about enabling elders to live independently in the home environment, one of the key drivers for making that happen is that services on which they depend on, the home setting, are consistently delivered and delivered in the manner that's needed to help them be successful in the home environment. Okay? So imagine, if you will, that this is the home, right? And we have this Meals on Wheels that's arriving. So what we are envisioning is that the service provider will arrive at home, and this person will have in their hand some kind of a smart device that has an embedded reader in it, okay? And within the home, at appropriate places, you're going to have these tags that are located, okay? And because the communication between the reader and the tag happens automatically, right? So as this person passes through some of these gateways, again, depending on the type of technology that we choose, right? The system would automatically know that, yes, this person came, and there's a timestamp for when they went through that gateway, right? And which are the locations that they visited within the home.
As somebody who used to be a caregiver, a paid caregiver working with people, I don't want this to end up scaring people away because they feel like they're being monitored.
The way we are approaching it from a change management perspective is that, how do we actually make this a resource to the caregiver as opposed to Big Brother watching you?
Another positive benefit for older adults who are so worried because their caregiver hasn't shown up.
Right.
And that reassurance that can be provided so that the worry doesn't extend for hours and almost days.
This project is looking at both driving safety, enhancing that through technology, but also mobility, trying to enhance mobility. So the answer is not getting older drivers out of their cars, but finding ways of helping older drivers drive more safely. Vehicle technology, I think, can improve driving safety by being attentive to the driver, understanding the driver's state, and potentially intervening when the driver falls asleep or becomes distracted, or even understanding the driver's state, because the car may be the first entity to know that you've had a stroke by monitoring your behavior, monitoring how you scan the world. Cars are becoming quite capable and may really change the way older drivers drive. And so what we want to do as part of this project is shape the direction of that change to make sure it helps older drivers and doesn't confuse them and make them more intimidated by driving. We've got a full driving simulator up on the 3rd floor of this building that is a Ford Fusion, a whole car sitting in the room upstairs with a wraparound screen, allowing you to drive through a virtual environment just like you would drive your real car. So we can put older drivers into this situation and really understand what technologies are going to help and which might do damage.
How many people in the room have had a close relative who's had a serious injury from a fall? So just turn around and look back. Falls are a really significant problem for older adults, and in 2000, the cost figure was $19 billion per year. And by 2020, the cost figure for falls injuries is going to be $55 billion. So what we do know is there's a lot of very successful interventions now. And one of the ones that I've had the good fortune to be working with is Stepping On. So it's a 7-week workshop, which then has a booster session 3 weeks later. And each workshop lasts 2 hours. There's 10 to 12 people in the workshop. Uses adult education principles that really for adults to learn, you learn by doing your own problem solving. That people help give you the resources, and then you figure out how those resources are your assets, and you develop your own intervention to prevent falling. What we realized is that when older adults finish Stepping On, they want to continue. They're jazzed, they've enjoyed this association, they've learned the exercises, and they want a network to continue. So what we envision is an online, like a support group, but it actually works with a Stepping On leader who continues to facilitate all the older adults who are on the group. So they can talk together with the leader facilitating on how to continue problem solving to prevent falls, share their successes, share the things that are working for them. and share how it's going with continuing to progress the exercises.
The fifth project that we have will help bring together the other four that we've talked about earlier into one overall seamless system. And in addition to that, what it's going to do is provide elderly and their family caregivers with technologies that will help them reduce feelings of isolation and loneliness, will help them navigate the health system more effectively, will help them use their assets that they bring to the table more effectively. We're going to be using technologies such as interactive communication, sensors, skills training, and various sources of information as a way of helping them do that. I'll take just one of these as an example. In the isolation and loneliness area, the elderly and family caregivers will be able to communicate with other people who are going through the same things that they are. They'll be able to offer tips and share ideas so that the other people can benefit from their knowledge at the same time that they're receiving support and information from those folks. And while we can go on in much more detail, I think I'll leave it with that, and just to say that we're very much looking forward to working on this project. We're already actively engaged in it. We're also looking forward to keeping you informed of what the progress that we're making.